All right, guys, if I give you a problem like the one on the board right now, this is something you should have learned to do a long time ago. How would you solve that? Good. So I'd cross multiply, right? So I cross one way, that gives me 3x. Cross the other way, 45. And then, guys, at this point of the problem, notice your fraction is completely gone. That is our goal in all of solving. For today and tomorrow, our first step is to get rid of the fractions. So now, which is the basic problem, we'll divide by 3. And we know that x equals 15. All right, so today there's two different types of problems that we're going to look at for solving. Today we're going to look at the ones that are similar to this setup where it's just a fraction equals fraction. Look at your purple sheet. Bottom row, right in the middle. Fraction equals fraction. That's what we're going to look at today. Okay? Because they're not bad. You're just going to cross multiply. Bottom row, in the middle. Purple sheet. Yep. Yeah, it's on your purple sheet. All right, so we're going to kind of split this apart. Today we'll do them by cross multiplying. Tomorrow we're going to actually look at that common denominator again because we'll need that to clear things out. But today's is not too bad. All right, and again, I'm going to go kind of baby steps because I know what's coming, so just kind of hang with me through some of this, okay? When I cross multiply, do I have to cross a certain direction first? No, it doesn't matter. Me personally, I typically go this way first, but it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to multiply 3 times x minus 1. And I know some of you will do that in your head, but I'm going to write it down step by step because I know it's coming. And then you put an equal sign. And then you cross the other direction. So 4 times x plus 1. And ta-da, my fractions are gone. How do you solve that? Good. Then we'll just distribute. So we'll get 3x minus 3. Distribute on the other side. 4x plus 4. And now we're back to like pre-algebra. How do you solve an equation? Good. Subtract 3x. So we get negative 3 equals x plus 4. Subtract the 4. Good. All right. Do you remember I had told you guys we did restrictions previously, and I was like, I'm just trying to set you up for when we get to solving, so it's second nature. What would your restrictions be in this problem? X cannot equal what? Plus or minus 1. Right? My restrictions come from the denominators. So negative 1 and positive 1. So my answer of negative 7, is that okay? Yeah, that's good. If you look at your purple sheet, it says to cross multiply, solve for x, and then check for extraneous solutions. Sometimes when this process of solving, it looks like we have a good answer, but if you check it, it doesn't actually work. So you always need to look for those restrictions that we've kind of practiced up till now. All right, and we'll look at some in a minute where that shows up. All right, so number 2, we're going to cross multiply again. Again, it does not matter which way you go first. So we're going to have 2 times x minus 1 equals 1 times x squared minus x. All right, again, just keep in mind when you're doing this, whenever you cross to the other way, there's an equal sign that goes in between what you got going on there. So just like before, I'm going to distribute. We'll get 2x minus 2 equals x squared minus x. But now we have an issue because we need to solve this. There's an x squared in there. Colton? Move the what? So you want to make it negative? Just the 2x? I think you're going to have issues. Maria? Oh, 2x plus x is, that's 3x. Not going to help me. Colton? There it is. Yeah. Make yourself a little note here, guys. If you have an x squared you must set it equal to 0 and factor. Yeah, those of you that factoring, you hate that. It keeps coming back time and time again. So if you have an x squared, it has to be set equal to 0 so we can factor it and solve. What would happen if you couldn't factor? Quadratic formula. Good. Most of these typically will factor, though. All right, so that means I need to move the 2x, subtract that. I need to add the 2. So 0 equals x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right, so if you have an x squared, automatically move everything, set it equal to 0 so that we can go ahead and solve them. So how does this factor? Good. X minus 2, x minus 1. So then we know x equals 2 and 1. Go back to the original problem. What were my restrictions? I had a restriction of 1 here, and what were my restrictions here? How would you find the restrictions here? You'd have to factor that. Take out that GCF, x minus 1. So my restrictions are 0 and 1 and 1. So my answer's down here. That one's extraneous. That was one of my restrictions. So just 2 is a good answer. So this is why I taught it to you earlier, though. That way, at this point, you're like, oh, yeah, my restrictions are 0 and 1. Oh, 1 can't work. Cross it off. If I just threw restrictions at you now, you guys would freak out on me. Megan, you all right? This one? I just pulled out a GCF of x on this one so I could truly see what the restrictions were. 0 is one of the restrictions, but I didn't get an answer of 0, so it didn't matter. Okay, number 3. Same idea. Let's go ahead and cross multiply. So 3 times x plus 4 equals 1 times x squared plus 4x. All right, we'll distribute. So 3x plus 12 equals x squared plus 4x. How do I solve this? Good. Set equal to 0 because you have the x squared in there. So I have to subtract 3x. I'm going to have to subtract 12. So 0 equals x squared plus x minus 12. Now what? Do I have to factor this? How's it factor? Good. Plus and minus. Well, we got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Good. Positive 4, minus 3. So then x equals negative 4 and 3. Okay, so she said it can't equal negative 4. If we come back up here and check restrictions, x cannot equal negative 4. Here I'd have to pull out that GCF. My restrictions are 0 and negative 4. So down here, the negative 4 is no good. So only 3 is the good answer. And I'm totally cool if you guys don't erase it. Just cross it off. That's totally fine. At least then I know that you solved it correctly, and then you're like, wait, that's extraneous. Can't have it. Just cross it off. Questions so far? Doing okay? Number 4, which is why I kind of baby stepped you because of this problem right here. Because when I go to cross multiply, you have 2x minus 4 times x plus 2. So So that's a little bit harder to kind of do in your head from the get-go. I had students earlier who asked, can I factor that first? What's step one on this? Purple sheet, what's step one? Cross multiply is your first step. So should you factor it first? No, you should cross multiply. And then let's cross the other way. And then we kind of have to do some distributing here. So we'll get 2x squared plus 4x minus 4x minus 8 equals 2x squared minus 20x plus 32. We got a lot going on there. Any like terms I can kind of clean up one side or the other? Yeah, you got the x's here. Those are going to cancel out. So I have 2x squared minus 8 equals 2x squared minus 20x plus 32. Do I set this equal to 0? It's got an x squared. It cancels out. Yeah, if I go to try to set this equal to 0 and I subtract 2x squared to move this, what happens to your x squared? It actually cancels out. So do I have to set it equal to 0? No, I don't. So let me just rewrite. We'll kind of go baby steps here, what I got left going on. So I have negative 8 equals negative 20x plus 32, because my x squared is actually canceled out. So what do I go from there? Good. Subtract the 32. So we have negative 40 equals negative 20x. Divide by negative 20. So x equals 2. Don't forget that last step, checking for extraneous. What's the restriction I can see right away? Negative 2. So that's good. How do I know what these restrictions are? I got to factor that. So we know it's x and x, 2 minuses, 8 and 2. So what are my restrictions? Yeah. 8, 2, and negative 2 are my restrictions. So this answer, it's extraneous. So what's the answer? No solution. Don't put 0. There is no solution. Or you could just put the 0 with a slash through it. I'm fine with that too. Yeah, but the only answer I found is actually extraneous because I'd put a 0 in the denominator, which I can't have. So no good. How are we feeling? I know I went a little quick there. Okay? That's the easier of the solving methods. Tomorrow is a lot harder.